Last month, I started writing a review for Wave 3 of Nintendo's Amiibo line, but I found out that there's only so many times you can say, well painted and nicely sculpted, before it got really old, so it didn't really work. That said, I do still want to talk about these things, but in the end, there's only 3 I really need to touch on. So the general thoughts on Amiibo. Yes, the distribution sucks and Nintendo needs to get their act together, but what they actually do with them, I really like. With Skylanders, it feels like I have to spend hundreds to get half the content on the disc, and the figurines only do one thing until the next game comes out, where they do the exact same thing. I prefer this approach, where the games feel very complete without the Amiibo, but they do some very cool and unique things if you have them, and they work on multiple games. Take your standard Mario Amiibo for instance. There's 7 games in the US that it works with, and even more if you live in Japan. But this is a toy review, so let's actually do that. As a figurine, Mario's done extremely well. Like all the other Smash Bros. Amiibos, it's based on his promo model from the new game that gets used everywhere. I will say I'm not a big fan of it with the constant fireball in his hand. It looks cool, but it's not my preferred look for Mario. I mean, still, this is Smash Bros. number 4, I mean, they've got to be low on poses at this point. He's very well molded with all the extra detailing that comes with a Smash Bros. Character model, and the paint is very clean. It's the quality I'd expect out of a Japanese figurine, not something sold on an American toy shelf. Then there's his rival, Sonic the Hedgehog. Sure, he's fallen on bad times, but my memories of him are still good, mostly because I never played Sonic 06. Like Mario, the paint and molding are exceptional. Here, though, I like the pose a lot more. Mid-run is perfect for him. The downside, of course, is it needs a stabilizing stand. But luckily, unlike the weirdly colored ones in Wave 1, this one's clear and doesn't distract from the figure nearly as much. Our third for this episode is the Blue Bomber, Megaman. I mean, seriously, what is it about blue video game characters who are always in abusive relationships with their developers? Like Sonic, the pose is great. Maybe a little boring, but it shows off the full character well. Again, the molding is good, representing Nintendo's character model that's more aligned with his NES proportions than his official artwork. What I do find off is the coloring. The metallic blue's alright, but the light blue is a little pale and doesn't quite match how bright he is in the game. Aside from that oddity, he does have some nice attention to detail, even remembering his hands aren't metallic in the game. The 3 together represent something very cool to me. These are 3 of gaming's most classic and historic characters, united in the same toy line. They stand on a shelf great together as a holy trinity of classic gaming. And Pac-Man's going to join them soon! That's a lot of retro gaming in one toy line. Speaking of, I'm in the mood to stay retro for a little while, so when we open tomorrow's present, we're going back to the 80s.